Women were marked by their anatomical difference from men and medically defined as faulty, defective, deficient. But women also possessed an organ of the highest biological and social value, the uterus. Possession of this organ defined the purpose of women, to bear and raise children. Knowledge about female biology centered around women's capacity and duty to reproduce. Being biologically female defined and constrained what it meant to be a woman, and being a woman was conflated with and reduced to female sex. Medicine validated these social determinants by constructing the myth that woman was her biology, that she was ruled by it, governed by it, at the mercy of it. Women's illnesses and diseases were consistently related back to the secrets and curiosities of their reproductive organs. The mystical uterus influenced every conceivable disorder and dysfunction of their bodies and minds. And ever since, medical knowledge about women's susceptibility to illness and disease has been shaped and distorted by prejudiced beliefs that possessing a uterus defines our inferior position in the man-made world. Of course, not all women have uteruses, and not all people who have uteruses or who menstruate are women. But medicine, historically, has insisted on conflating biological sex with gender identity. Over centuries, medical knowledge about the organs and systems marked female have been imbued with patriarchal notions of womanhood and femininity. As medicine's understanding of female biology has expanded and evolved, it has constantly reflected and validated dominant social and cultural expectations about who women are, what they should think, feel, and desire, and, above all else, what they can do with their own bodies. We understand today that our biology does not determine our gender identity. For centuries, feminism has fought for the rights of all people not to have their lives limited by their basic biology. But medicine has inherited a gender problem. Medical myths about gender roles and behaviors, constructed as facts before medicine became an evidence-based science, have resonated perniciously. And these myths about female bodies and illnesses have enormous cultural sticking power. Today, gender myths are ingrained as biases that negatively impact the care, treatment, and diagnosis of all people who identify as women. Healthcare providers and the healthcare system are failing women in their responses to and treatment of women's pain, especially chronic pain. Biased gender expectations directly affect how real, serious, and deserving of treatment women's pain is perceived to be. Women are more likely to be offered minor tranquilizers and antidepressants than analgesic pain medication. Women are less likely to be referred for further diagnostic investigations than men. And women's pain is much more likely to be seen as having an emotional or psychological cause, rather than a bodily or biological one. Women are the predominant sufferers of chronic diseases that begin with pain. But before our pain is taken seriously as a symptom of a possible disease, it has to first be validated and believed by a medical professional. And this pervasive aura of distrust around women's accounts of their pain has been enfolded into medical attitudes over centuries. The historical and hysterical idea that women's excessive emotions have profound influences on their bodies, and vice versa, is impressed like a photographic negative beneath today's image of the attention-seeking, hypochondriac female patient. Prevailing social stereotypes about the way women experience, express, and tolerate pain are not modern phenomena. They have been ingrained in medicine across its history. Our contemporary biomedical knowledge is stained with the residue of old stories, fallacies, assumptions, and myths. Over the last few years, gender bias in medical knowledge, research, and practice has hit the mainstream press.